Hello and good evening, everyone, to episode 4 of the Recce Report. My name's Russ. I'm a former warrant officer, British Army, Royal Signals and Adjutant General Corps.
Yeah, good evening, folks. My name's Cliff, former corporal with the Queenstown Highlanders and with the Royal Army Medical Corps.
So thank you so much for tuning in tonight. It's time once again for you to listen to us bump our gums and have a look at what's been going on in the world since we were last on. And clearly there's been, again, nothing happening at all worth talking about, Cliff, is there?
Well, it's been, that's one of these stagnant areas that we've been lumbered with, trying to find a story where no stories exist. But however, careful peering through the bushes and through the tree line. And I have noticed two conservative and unionists popping up on media.
Oh, are they still a
by the
thing?
name of Liz. Sorry?
Are they still a thing? Tories? Are they still around?
They are south of the Rio Tweed, yeah. Yes. So yeah, good old Liz Truss and Rishi Sunak are still having their presidential battle to see who gets into number 10. And quite why they're doing it as public as they are doing it, I'll never know. These things used to be done in public and private.
Yeah.
For a very good reason. And that's the infighting that we've seen.
Yeah, I've been watching it. I'm just flabbergasted at how the things that they used to say in private, they're now really comfortable saying out loud and in front of cameras and people, and they're not being, hunted out of the village.
It seems the more extreme that they go, the more, the louder the applause that they get from. Obviously, they're speaking to their own group. They're speaking to their own crowd. I mean, when Liz Truss came out with that wonderful statement about ignoring the First Minister, the duly elected First Minister of Scotland, adding that Nicola Sturgeon is just an attention seeker. I mean, that was rapturous applause in Torysville, and somebody shouted, "Build a wall." Well, again, I really think the Tories should go back and learn a little bit about geography, because the wall they often refer to, Hadrian's Wall, is not actually the Scottish border. I mean, if they're going to give us that land, fine. It's good heathland. It's there's more more electrical generation going on there as well, and some good. Well, in fact, they're losing more water than they have done.
And I've seen that.
What did you make of that statement?
Again, like you say, it's preaching to the converted. That's what they're doing. It's the stuff that normally they would discuss in dark rooms away from the prying eyes. For some reason, we've entered a period in history where the right wing are becoming extremely emboldened about revealing their true nature. So Liz Truss talking about ignoring the duly elected First Minister of Scotland. Then you had Rishi Sunak preaching to the party faithful down in, I think it was Tunbridge Wells, saying, this scenario where money is being diverted to deprived areas, I'm going to change that, and money needs to come to places like Tunbridge Wells, where people are clearly so deprived that, maybe they can only have one piece of avocado toast in a morning. I don't know. Maybe that's me showing my kind of biases there about the stereotypes of the English middle class. I don't know, but it's the emboldenment, mate, of. And we laugh about things like that, but the truth is, they mean it. That is their core support they're preaching to.
Yeah, and it just shows you how easy it can be for a country to slide in one particular direction. I mean, I mean, the Tory party now have slid so far right. It is actually very concerning. People should be aware of what's going on there. and how easily we could slip in to a situation that Germany found itself in 1933.
And you're right, mate. And it sounds a lot sometimes like just rhetoric. No one seriously believes that they're going to be the next Nazis. The Nazis didn't think they were going to be the next Nazis. When people ask, how did people let that happen? Because people supported it. People listened to what was being said about the demonization of certain segments of the population, about it was outsiders that were coming in and making everything worse for you. And people lapped it up, and they voted them in. Now, obviously, circumstances around the world at that time, the Wall Street crash of the early 1930s did a lot to embolden the parties. But then I think maybe we've got this self-inflicted Brexit. So when people start feeling the hurt of that, and it's going to get a lot worse, then yeah, I think the right wing is going to be even more emboldened. We have to be careful. But I was going to say, mate, talking about the splintering of people, surely the recent Commonwealth Games have shown us how we can all come together for a common cause, or is that just bread and circuses in your eyes?
No, I actually love the Commonwealth Games, because we're according to the right-wing press, we're nothing but a nation of drug addicts, alcoholics, and beggars. Yeah, and what a medal total we got from this games. It was our best away games ever. Concerning medal total. Yeah, and I know the branch office in Scotland, the Tory branch office in Scotland, don't like the terminology calling it an away game because it was in Birmingham in England. Well, the last time I looked, Birmingham in England was south of the Rio Tweed. So it is an away game, especially in the context of the Commonwealth Games, because we are individual nations in that.
Absolutely. It's Commonwealth Games.
But that goes,
no, as you say, the Commonwealth Games, we are. I'm going to stop talking now.
So I've got a slight delay. This is probably the longest link we've actually had to try to achieve here, Russ. If I was any further northwest, I'd probably be speaking Icelandic.
Why don't you tell everyone where you are today?
I'm up in Wester Ross. My work takes me about the place. So I'm way up in Wester Ross, which is, believe it or not, still south of where I'm originally from.
Yeah.
So it's still, to me, the Southlands.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm in my room in the Central Belt, which I haven't left in about 2 years. So
Russ is playing for the sympathy vote there.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes. Yeah. So we've had a very good Commonwealth Games, and it just shows you that Scotland can be a successful nation. And we have got athletes that are prepared to put on the Scottish top and really, well, as we used to say, bust a gut to get the job done. And it was absolutely fantastic to see it. Now, you know what I really did enjoy was the athletes singing "Flower of Scotland." And I know I've since the last referendum, I've shied away from that song because, hey, we had that chance and we didn't take it. But I really did like the athletes singing it because that showed a lot of passion, not just for their sport, but for their nation. And maybe. But the branch office up here, the Tory branch office, they just do not like anything Scottish. It must really gnarl their innards, right? When someone points out to them that S in MSP, stands for Scottish.
I know. And you say about the pride. I watched an interview, and it was Eilish McColgan and Liz McColgan being interviewed at the same time, and Ellis was saying, well, it's nice, she's done it, she's had achievements with Team GB and all that. She's I am proud of what I've achieved with Team GB, but there's just something so special about doing this with the Scotland colours on, with a saltire draped around me, and the emotion that she had when she was on the medal platform singing "Flower of Scotland," just phenomenal. So people are proud. People are proud, and I think that's you hear people from the kind of unionist side saying, "No, I'm a proud Scot as well." Yeah, but actions speak louder than words. They really are. What are you proud of Scotland about? Because all we see is you denigrating it constantly.
They certainly have always had, and we've seen this more or less from the inception of the veterans for Scottish independence. We've seen this. They are very much negative. You can't do this. You can't do this. If you do this, bad things will happen. Aliens will land and all this stuff. Yeah, and you're sitting there going, it's a negative. Say something nice about your country. I mean, some of the unionists went into absolute, again, not Tory party, but unionists in general went into again another bit of a meltdown because Partick Thistle have dared to put Gaelic signs up.
I know, outrageous.
Yeah.
I know, and people are melting down, and you kind of see it, and I think there's that aspect of, kind of just trying to be out fascist each other.
Yeah.
And they're kind of sprint for it. And I think you're kind of seeing it a lot, especially in the States at the moment, with the whole kind of, reproductive rights debate. And in days gone past, we would have kind of gone, that's America. They're kind of weird. But then we had what, in the last week or so, we had, what's his name? Is it Justin Welby, the Archbishop of, is he Canterbury? I don't know.
I believe it is Canterbury, yeah. If he's not, apologise.
Yeah, just coming out and saying, as far as the Anglican Church is concerned, being gay is still a sin, and you will burn in eternal hell.
Lambeth Council, Lambeth Council, like they meet every 10 years.
All right. Oh, so that was a policy 10 years ago, and it's still the policy today. No, I don't think I'm surprised. No, go on.
Sorry, Russ. Yeah, basically that's what everybody's been saying. You meet every 10 years. Where's your ability to change?
Yeah, where's the evolution? No, I don't think I'm surprised that they came out with it. Again, what I'm surprised is this is the stuff that used to be kind of buried away in the sub headlines, so that people, but now they're just feeling emboldened to come out and say it. And the thing is, it's the Anglican Church. Not surprised. I mean, they've got women priests and everything now, haven't they?
Yeah. Well, that's it. He backed it up by saying he's not going to come down on anybody for same-sex marriages. So how can he allow same-sex marriages in his church, but think that's a sin?
Well, it's hypocrisy. Yeah. Well, are you surprised that some religious types are major hypocrites? Is this news to you?
No, it's not actually, old chap. Yeah. Again, is he just speaking to his hardline, the hardcore of his church? Because it seems to me that the rise of the extreme right and the rise of the extreme right church, it seems to be going sort of hand in glove here.
Yeah.
And again, the fake news is our biggest thing. The people just whack up stuff. There was a beautiful one on social media a couple of days ago. It was allegedly a video showing vote rigging 2014, all that type of thing. And a veteran, by the way, did a little, minor research, popped up. This is the producer of it. And it turns out this guy also believes in the pyramids were made by aliens, and all this type of thing. Right? So this is the pedigree of the person. But that video, people were just saying that true because it's a video. Yeah. And you're sitting there going, well, back check stories. And we've got to watch this as we go into it. Now, I'm an optimist, as you know. And I'm thinking that the Supreme Court will turn around and say, competency is with Scottish Parliament, and they can hold that referendum, a legally binding referendum at that. So we need to watch every single story that pops up on social media, because it is our outlet. The unionists have got mainstream. They've locked that one away. Although I did hear a journalist on the BBC criticise Liz Truss about her comments about Nicola Sturgeon, which was good to see.
Yeah.
And
it is, and I think, and while we say that the right to become emboldened, I think what's been quite interesting over the last few months has been the performance, maybe that's the wrong word, of your guy again, Mick Lynch from the RMT, who rightly said, I seen him say it earlier today again, that that you cannot say wages have driven inflation because wages haven't risen in 10 years. And inflation still has. What has risen is the obscene profits that people are making. And we can see that today with the skyrocketing that's happening with the electricity prices. Scotland is going to be the only country in the world to find oil and get poorer.
Yeah.
And the thing is, we don't even need the oil now, mate. Because we're now one of the leading nations for renewables, for offshore wind and wave, and we're really building up. And for some reason, we still have food banks. What the hell is going on?
Well, it's that classic statement, 5 miles over at horizon is production platforms, and 5 miles behind me are food banks. There is something drastically wrong. It's mismanagement. It has been, since the Act of Union, it has been mismanaged. Every single country that Westminster has had its fangs into has reported a loss. The accountancy trick they used in India to say it was running as a loss, well, they siphoned off all the riches for that one. The Turkish petroleum company out in what was Mesopotamia, Iraq, was running at a loss. Right, so they then didn't have to give any money back to the fledgling Iraqi state at the time. So every single resource-rich country that Westminster has had its fangs into, they've posted up as a loss, and we see it ourselves every time Gers comes round. How much debt Scotland's in, which is also a strange one because Scotland's not allowed to run at a deck.
We don't have any borrowing powers, or we have limited borrowing powers now. And it is ludicrous because what Gers does, it just shows you how badly we're being mismanaged. It's a strange argument from the unionists. Look how poorly we run your country, so you can't afford to go and do it yourselves, and let us keep running it poorly. It seems to be ludicrous. It's not the winning argument they think it is. And we're not in the campaign till Gordon Brown gets wheeled out again. We know that.
Well, he's already come out. I caught a brief bit of him the other day. He was saying that he actually came out and said that Liz Truss was out of order. What she said about Nicola. But he also come out and said the government need. Our UK government need to do an emergency budget before, I think it was October he mentioned. Otherwise, people are not going to be the best impressed.
I don't know if it was the same guy, but I seen a comment earlier. It was a civil servant that used to work in the kind of what do you call it, the constitutional unit of the government, was a big part of Brexit, and he said that the UK government are going to have to legislate for a route that would allow for Scottish independence. Because they cannot, it's impossible to think that they can keep kicking it into the long grass by saying, no, now is not the time, and strong and stable, and all the other buzzwords that they push out. And the truth is, there should already have been a route. Why? What the feck have we been doing for the last 300 years?
Come on, Russ.
Why is this only coming up now? Why 300 years into union have we been like, well, what if we want to leave? Why did no one ask this question in 1707?
Well, they tried just after it, and the MPs at the time were outvoted by the remainder of the MPs. They seen that the union wasn't working, and they tried to leave and got laughed at the then Parliament. No, come on. They promised smart borders for Brexit, and Rees Mogg has had to come up and say, well, maybe I got that wrong.
Yeah,
really.
The queues will not be at Dover, mate. The queues will be at Calais. He said it.
Yeah. Sorry, it's a bad state we get into when we're laughing at.
We've got some fan mail here from Margaret. Thanks, Margaret. Do appreciate that.
Yeah, that's a bit of a nice call.
Well, to be fair, I don't think we were hiding that fact at all, really.
No, I don't.
No. Really, I know we weren't pretending not to be. So I certainly wasn't.
No.
So it would have been nice. Sorry, I'm just saying to Margaret, it would have been nice for Margaret to have some exposition there, because we were idiots about a lot of things. So if you could be a bit more specific, then maybe we can address your concerns. Sorry, Cliff, I interrupted you, mate. Go on.
No, not at all. No, that's more or less what I was going to be saying. Just one word insult. Well, whatever. Yes. So smart borders are the way forward, apparently. Now, speak to a guy who knows a bit about how they work, and because we live in the digital age and everything. This was it. Liz Truss again, our favourite Tory, came out with a statement about that if Scotland goes independent, she's going to give us the hardest Brexit ever. That's going to work two ways, isn't it? Really?
Yeah.
That border is going to be just as tough as they want it to be. And remember, they are after resources.
But that's the thing, mate. That maybe that was an issue in 2014. Having a border between Scotland and England would have been an issue. But the truth is, there's now a border between the UK and everyone else. And it doesn't look like that's going to be reversed anytime soon. None of the major parties are talking about going back into the EU. So I think maybe we have to suck up a hard border with England for as long as it takes for us to get back in the EU.
Yeah.
Because that's going to be the only way to survive. To get there.
Yeah. And it's not about us losing any sovereignty coming out of one union and going to another union. The EU is a totally different union from what we're in just now.
I know, and they're talking about now about scrapping the European Court of Human Rights, which was nothing to do with the EU. That was the European Court of Human Rights is part of the Council of Europe, which no one ever talked about leaving. That was never a thing we were going to leave. We didn't have a referendum on that. It's a completely separate entity. But now they're talking about it's redefining asylum, and it's just getting ludicrous, mate, isn't it? It really is.
Yeah, that was Sunak on one of the few TV bits I managed to watch before my blood pressure creeped up to dangerous levels. He turned around and says, "Yes, we are going to have to, i.e. the UK, we're going to have to redefine the European Court of Human Rights definition of asylum seeker. And I'm sitting there going, whoa, that's not a road you want to go going down.
Which is not something that's defined in the Human Rights Act. The Human Rights Act just talks about freedom from torture, and things like that. So if you want to redefine that, then what does that tell you? That is that they want to be even more right wing and even more draconian, without kind of riling up the rest of the world. It's a scary time to be alive, mate. I can't believe it's 2022 and this is the conversation we're having.
Yeah, because this got, as we said earlier, this conversation could have been happening in the mid-30s, in the 1930s.
Yeah.
Dominic Raab is on about bringing forward legislation to make it a little bit more difficult for people to hold government ministers accountable.
Yeah.
And you're sitting there, yeah. So are they putting themselves up on pedestals? Are they beyond reproach now? Is this what they think they are? That they're above and beyond?
Yeah. I heard maybe this will make you laugh. I heard someone earlier, they were talking about, it was on Twitter or something like that, they were saying that yes, we joined the EEC in 70 whatever it was, but then the EU was started and they did not have a mandate for that. The thing is, if you look at the original signatories to the Maastricht Treaty, which is what set up the EU in 92, there's 2 UK signatures on that. Now, who was in power in 92?
Yeah,
in the UK.
Would that have been John Major?
Yeah, it was the Tories, and I can't remember the second signature on it, but the first one is John Hurd. Remember him?
Yes.
He was one of the Tory ministers, and I think Francis, some days the other fellow on there. So if it's not a mandate and it's signed by 2 Tory ministers on behalf of the UK government, how is that not a mandate? Because for years we've been sold a lie.
They just want to muddy the waters. They have got their own agenda, and they are blaming absolutely everybody other than themselves for the absolute crippling of the economy.
Yeah, so somebody's asking if we could invite our troll back on to explain our views. I don't think she's going to come back on.
No,
I think she's dropped her bomb, her "we are idiots" and disappeared, which is a shame because, I'd like to know specifically why in this instance I'm an idiot. I do need some women's planning in that respect, as all men do, clearly. We're genetically idiots, so it's predefined. So it's a scary world we're in. That we've got the rise of the right wing Tory party. We've got an increased, kind of noises from the Anglican Church being more right wing. We've got the rise of the right wing in the States and here as well. And then most recently we've got obviously China kind of making noises about Taiwan, and it's 2022. It may as well be 1922 with everything that's going on. It's ridiculous.
Just seems to go round in circles with them.
There's somebody putting me right. We joined the EEC in 1970. Oh, I thought it was 72, but yeah, 1970, obviously.
There you go.
And we came out.
Yep.
Mental. So yeah, it's that's the world as we see it today.
That was both barrels of shot on it.
I know.
Yeah. On the positive side of things, yes, we're still here. We're still campaigning for independence.
Yeah. What's that, mate? Sorry, you're breaking up a little bit.
We're campaigning for independence. We're still here. We will keep at it.
All right, we're gonna have to run over, mate, because Margaret's come back with a little comeback. Hey, idiots! Brexit has already happened. I didn't vote for it, but that was the vote and I accept it. Why can't you lot not accept the vote of the majority of Scotland who said no to independence? And yes, I am back. Idiots in all caps. Woo! Bit of a shouting there. We did accept the vote of the majority of Scots who said no to independence. We're not independent. So we clearly accepted it. Yeah. We're now campaigning.
Oh, I get it. Yes. We're only allowed one. Yeah, we're only allowed one vote because that's
Ever.
the unionist way of democracy is.
Yeah, that's it. Margaret, with all due respect, you are talking out of your behind. The beauty of a democracy is that you can campaign for what you believe in. If you can encourage enough people to vote for the same thing you believe in, then that's what happens. That's democracy. Otherwise, it becomes probably, I don't even know how to describe it, something completely different. Well, it becomes the sort of the North Korea. Everybody votes, but they all vote for the only person on the ballot paper.
Yeah. Well, actually, North Korea's got two parties.
It's got two what? Two parties. Yeah.
It's got two political parties.
Yeah. But yeah, absolutely. So on that note, Margaret, I'm sorry, but our time has sadly come to an end for another week. If you'd like to join in and participate again, and thank you so much for doing so. We do appreciate your comments. We always like a good chuckle.
Yeah.
So please feel free to tune in again at the same time next month, the second Monday of the month at 7 o'clock. We'll be here because I'm an idiot. I've got nowhere else to go. And about you, Cliff? You're going to be here the same time next month? Oh, that's brilliant.
Same time next month. And remember, folks. Remember, folks, future's bright, independence is right.
Independence is right. Take care, everyone. See you soon.
Cheers, guys.